Police searching for a second suspect accused of shooting an off-duty Border Patrol officer during an attempted robbery over the weekend. The officer was shot in the face during the New York City ambush, but thankfully is expected to survive. DHS arresting one alleged assailant so far, revealing he is an illegal immigrant released by the Biden administration in 2023. And this is not his first run-in with the law. He has racked up an extensive rap sheet, including charges like grand larceny, assault, and armed robbery. Former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker joins me now to discuss. Chris, yet another example of a far-left city not informing ICE and allowing a criminal repeatedly back on the streets.
This is the insane policy. It's a product of that insane policy of the Biden administration. You can draw a direct line to this incident from his border policies and sanctuary cities. As you mentioned, caught and released, career criminal in the short time that he's been here in the United States. Who knows what he's done in his native country, in his home country. And these are just the crimes that he was caught for. Trying to rob someone, just picked the wrong person to rob and got himself shot. But then, if you watch the video, it's horrendous. It's alarming. And, you know, many of us predicted this type of crime wave as a direct result of those Biden open border policies. It was deliberate. That, you know, the only thing, it's an insane policy. The only thing you can rationalize it by is to say, well, they're trying to get votes. And that's not, that's a horrible motive to open up those borders.
Especially when American lives are on the line. And fortunately, in this situation, we did not lose this officer, but we have lost people to illegal immigrant crime, and it's unnecessary. So thank goodness that the border is now basically closed under the Trump administration. I want to get your thoughts on this. DNI Tulsi Gabbard revealing even more details about the Obama administration's alleged, quote unquote, treacherous conspiracy against Trump. Listen.
Creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously. The effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump.
Chris, having been the assistant FBI director and knowing how they work, do you have any doubt that the intel community under Barack Obama tried to take down a duly elected president?
No doubt whatsoever. I've read the IG reports and looked at the congressional hearings and their investigation. And here's the thing. They completely flipped counterintelligence on its head. They got information that the Trump campaign was being targeted and that Hillary Clinton and her campaign were trying to smear Trump with the Russia hoax, what turned out to be the Russia hoax. And what you would normally do in the field of counterintelligence would be to go to the American citizen, in this case, a presidential candidate, and give them a defensive briefing and say, look, you're being targeted. The Russians are trying to impact the election in some way. Instead, the FBI under Jim Comey and McCabe opened up an investigation on the Trump campaign itself. And I think what we're going to see, and what Tulsi Gabbard has pointed out, is that Barack Obama was the puppeteer here. They knew the Clinton campaign was in trouble, and this was done to help that campaign and to basically smear Donald Trump. Now, any other person, they may have succeeded, but he persevered through all that time, those 4 years. And now, look, the playbook has been flipped back against them now. Let's hope that they get some conspiracy charges out of this in terms of conspiracy to perjure and possibly other charges, because this can't happen again.
Well, let's talk about that. Tulsi Gabbard said her evidence has now been turned over to the Department of Justice. Will we see prosecutions? And if so, who should be finding a good defense attorney this morning, up to and including President Barack Obama?
Yeah, I mean, I really think there may be some possibly perjury or conspiracy to perjure on either Brennan or possibly even McCabe or Comey, because they lied. I mean, there were lies on FISA applications. There were lies to Congress. There were documents were essentially falsified with this information. I don't think they'll get as high as Barack Obama, But certainly they're all lawyering up right now. And I think probably the most vulnerable would be Jim Comey and the FBI agents Strzok and Page and McCabe, who actually turned the whole FBI playbook on its head in the field of counterintelligence and ginned up information that Trump was trying to influence the election by accepting information from the Russians and accepting Russian influence. That wasn't the case. They knew it. So let's see what happens here. I'm not optimistic, I think, but I do think that congressional investigations have a purpose. They can shed some light. Criminal prosecutions can really shine some light here. So it'll be interesting to see if a conspiracy to perjure charge comes out of this.
Could be the scandal of our lifetime. Chris Swecker, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.